to British Columbia tonight, where we bring you a key Western Conference six-pointer north of the border. Whitecaps FC2 looking to snap out of a prolonged winless rut against a Real Monarchs squad that has undergone plenty of in-season turnover. A pair of sides below the playoff cut line looking to make inroads here this evening. We say hello from Swangard Stadium. Sam Goldfarb here, thrilled to bring you all of the action. It is a Whitecaps FC2 side that has not won in its last 5 matches, 4 defeats in that span. They take on a Monarchs side that just snapped out of a winless rut of its own. You look at the starting lineup for Rich Fagan, 3 changes from the 2-0 defeat against Tacoma Defiance last Sunday. First ever starts for Jesse Peace, as well as Kevin Podgorny, who leads the line this evening. Carson Rasick, the versatile midfielder, slotted in at the number 10 role. A classic 4-2-3-1 look for Richard Fagan's side as they hunt more structure at the back defensively. On the opposite end of things for Real Monarchs, it is another pivot formationally, still a 5-back for Mark Lowry, but 2 forwards this time out and a pair of changes to accompany that. Felix Evault starts up top with Van Parker, who scored his first 2 professional goals on Wednesday night. Liam O'Gara still in the center of the park, and then that 5-back with Trace Alfin between the sticks for yet another match. Max Kirkfleet has moved up to the first team more consistently, so heightened opportunity for the former Wake Forest man. Just about ready to get everything going here from Vancouver in British Columbia, on the outskirts of Vancouver at Swangard Stadium in Burnaby, a venue that was opened in 1969 and has been a fixture of the community ever since. We will see how they stack up against a Monarchs side that they fell to by a 3-2 scoreline on March 22nd. It is a Real Monarchs squad that broke out of a 5-match winless rut of its own. 3 consecutive defeats before a draw against Quakes 2 on the 13th, but Wednesday night achieving a first victory since that win in March 22nd against Whitecaps FC2. That a 2-0 triumph in which Van Parker scored both inside the opening 20 minutes. And talking to Mark Lowry this week, he mentioned how proud he was of his side, a squad that has had to handle plenty of in-season turnover, the likes of Lineker Rodriguez moving up to the first team, Marco Zambrano moving on, and it's forced them to change their entire identity from a press-oriented central-based side to a 5-back direct squad that counters through the flanks. Well, it's a Whitecaps squad that has done good work between both boxes, according to Rich Fagan, but still has plenty of work to do, especially defensively, if it hopes to get where it hopes to be at the end of the season. Second meeting of the year between these two sides. Second of 3 meetings this season. The final clash will take place in Utah on July 11th. Of course, the first meeting, a triumph for Real Monarchs. Vancouver Whitecaps FC2 have not won since achieving victory on this ground on April 12th against Tacoma. It will be Whitecaps going from left to right on your screen. It will be Real Monarchs going from left to right. Well, Whitecaps from left to right, Monarchs from right to left. And we are underway here from Swangard Stadium. This one should be an interesting one in MLS Next Pro. Sam Goldfarb bringing you every step of the way as Vancouver gets on the front foot briefly. And that's run out of play. For those just joining us, we welcome you into Swangard Stadium. Vancouver in their blue strips. They are going from right to left. Monarchs from left to right. As we previously mentioned, the second of 3 meetings this year between these two sides. It is a Whitecap squad that has not triumphed since winning in mid-April. That a 2-1 come-from-behind victory over Tacoma Defiance. And they fell last week on this ground by a 2-0 scoreline against that same Tacoma side. A performance in which Rich Fagan said he felt his side was good between both boxes, but lapses in concentration cost them as Real Monarchs look long for Van Parker and company. And this is picked up by Efalt. And opportunities now to cross. Cowell arcing it to the back post. Sprinted away from trouble by Sahil Deo of Vancouver. Well, early on, Real Monarchs showing that direct initiative that Mark Lowry discussed. And they win the match's first corner 3 minutes in. It will be Luka Moisa, the first teamer to take for Monarchs. He has been a key presence in the heart of midfield for Real Monarchs all season to date. Taken short. Moisa drives it in. It's headed away by Mponsa. And the whistle sounds, an overzealous challenge by Wangio Vila. Well, talking to Mark Lowry, it has been an interesting season in which they've had to undergo a rebuild basically mid-year. And sometimes in Next Pro you see that around the mid-season point with successful teams because players are called up to the first team and that opens the door for academy products. But with Real Monarchs, it's been a combination of injuries, promotions from within the organization, and then as well as departures. We mentioned Marcos Zambrano, who scored the last time these two sides met. He's departed to New England's organization. Meanwhile, Lineker Rodriguez, also another goal scorer in that fixture, promoted to the first team. So it has forced Mark Lowry to reevaluate this team's identity. And one thing he's done well is catering this side to his players' strengths. He recognizes that Van Parker, who's received heightened opportunity in Lineker Rodriguez's absence, is someone who thrives on direct play, an old school 9. So instead of sticking to the press-oriented, possession-based approach that you saw earlier in the year for Real Monarchs, they've flipped the script and they've gone for more of a direct approach, a 5-back system where they attack through the flanks to adjust to the lack of central presence at times. You saw the rewards of that shift on Wednesday night. And yes, it was against the team at the bottom of the Western Conference, but could represent a major momentum building point for this Real Monarchs side that had previously gone winless in its prior 5. There's the ball along for Podgorny. Knocks it along for Rasic. Deo can't keep this in play. This is sprayed long, and there is that direct approach that you can expect all night from Real Monarchs. It is an interesting change as well, because you see in Next Pro especially, a lot of coaches under pressure to cater the style to the first team, because naturally this is a developmental platform and opportunity for players across the MLS spectrum. Mark Lowry's completely adjusted the approach, and it has yielded improved performances, especially the last 2 matches. Getting a draw against Quakes 2 is nothing to scoff at before that triumph over Rapids 2. As there's a tug on the far side, and an early free kick for Real Monarchs, and an early moment of reckoning for Vancouver defensively. Well, you see here, it's a moment of directness. And there is coming together on the far side. Perhaps the Caps are lucky to escape a yellow card on that occasion. Sets up Moyes up with another early set piece. Floated in. It's an appetizing one. Punched away by Rogers, the academy goalkeeper for Whitecaps FC2. Now the follow-up cross in from O'Gara. Cleared away as well. And an early stand from the Whitecaps. There's the first touch of the night from Trace Alphen. He is regarded for his ability to play with his feet. Gives us a chance to tell you that Chevrolet is proud to be a partner of Vancouver Whitecaps FC since 2023. Together in this stadium, together on the pitch, together let's drive. Chevrolet.ca. You saw Trace Alphen moments ago signing on a second-team contract after being picked 59th overall in the 2025 MLS Super Draft by Real Salt Lake. He's been Kirkfleet's backup for large spells, but has impressed when called upon, and in his fourth start of the year, looking to build on what was a strong performance. 5 saves in the first clean sheet of his season. His counterpart Sam Rogers, making just his fourth start of the year, has undergone plenty of early season troubles. Of course, he was hit for 6 goals in the Quakes 2 defeat on May 9th before conceding another 2 in the second half last Sunday. But talking to Rich Fagan, he feels that Rogers is a really interesting prospect and someone who will make an impact. It's just been about keeping his confidence up. You see here he is off his line, pouncing on that. Calderon. Kobe Henry, the first teamer. Bashed forward and given away. Rasic cleaning up the mess. Zuluaga. He's someone who specializes in weaving a web of lies on the near side. Brings that pace and burst of energy. Rasic roaming wide now. Beyond the reach of Yumasugi. Snatched back by Garnett. Numbers in support as well. Garnett goes at it alone. Deflects rather kindly for Trace Alphen on that occasion. There's what Micah Garnett can provide. 22-year-old out of the University of Portland who has enjoyed a strong start to the year as a mainstay at the fullback spot. Listed winger that has been converted into a fullback role and has fared decently so far. Long throw opportunity now for Real Monarchs. Plenty to aim at. Headed only as far as Moisa, who drives it goalward and forces Rogers into a decent reflex save. The 16-year-old up for the task, though. Not a bad effort here. It's a half chance, falls nicely for Moisa. It just takes that slight hop, which forces Rogers to awkwardly adjust. All in all, I think Vancouver would take the corner on that occasion relative to the alternative. Sets up Moisa now from the far flag. In swinging ball. Headed to the edge of the area. Calderon had a pop. Early on, starting to see Real Monarchs pressing the issue, and Mark Lowry has emphasized with his team the importance of quick starts. Even in that LAFC 2 defeat a few weeks back, they struck first in that eventual 3-1 defeat. Last week, they rode the wave of a rapid start with Van Parker's brace inside the opening 20 minutes to that 2-0 victory over Rapids 2. Says that that's been a huge talking point with his side, and they've come out assertive once again here. Question is, can they capitalize against a Vancouver defense that has been teetering throughout the young campaign? Rich Fagan has mentioned that there have been so many lapses in concentration at key inflection points. It is a young side. It is a team that is learning on the job, as he says. And for that reason, he feels it is something that will eventually correct itself as the season progresses. Cowell is fouled there. And he actually gives away the set piece. And Ponsa. Zuluaga. Someone who relishes a 1v1 opportunity and plays it forward. Lovely. Garnett to the back post. And it takes a slight deflection out of play for a corner. Well-worked move this. It's an underlapping run from Micah Garnett, the fullback. He just comes in late and then plays this right across the face of goal. And Sahil Deo is unfortunate that that didn't find its way in. Defender placed in the proper position at the 11th hour. And it is Vancouver's first corner of the day now. Taken short to Rasic. Zuluaga overhits it for everyone. Parker. This is where he's at his best, but on that occasion, a challenge that was excessively biting. He is someone that stormed onto the scene. It's just his 4th consecutive start. Had not scored prior to Wednesday night. But Mark Lowry's mentioned the incremental development from him. In his first start, said his physicality against LAFC 2 overwhelmed the center backs. And then a few days later, he felt that he showed an ability to hold up the ball. And then it all came together with a comprehensive performance on Wednesday night. A 17-year-old that was an MLS Next All-Star and one of the best players in the MLS Next ranks nationally throughout the 2025 campaign. Starting to now translate that to the pro stages, and a Real Monarchs side that has gotten increasingly young of late has afforded opportunities to the likes of the 17-year-old to make an impression. Moisa. One back by Suki, cleanly according to our official as well. Amponsa. Pokes this forward for Podgorny. And it runs out of play. Did take a hop on the way, it seems, though. And it is another Whitecaps corner in the offing. Grasic. Another training ground routine. Zuluaga back for Suki. Zuluaga turns past one. Rides the challenge well. And wins yet another set piece for the hosts. Garnett lost the ball out of play. For those just joining us, we welcome you to Swangard Stadium in British Columbia on the outskirts of Vancouver. Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action here this evening. No score between Whitecaps FC2 and Real Monarchs in the second of three meetings this year. The first, a very different one to this one. 3-2 victory for Real Monarchs after they went up 3-0 inside the opening hour. But the two players that scored in that 3-0 victory not present in the squad this evening for Real Monarchs. So a much different looking side. Well, Vancouver looking to snap a 5-match winless run as Deo bypasses his defender. The cross deflected away. And a chance to play out now for Real Monarchs. Fixture with ebbs and flows, momentum-wise, in the early stages. And Amparo shoved to the deck. And there is Amparo starting to get on it more in midfield. Moise up. Salas plays it forward. Amparo in a pocket. Broken up well on that occasion by Bruletti. You see the feeling out process continuing here. It is a similar Vancouver side, at least personnel-wise, to the one we saw the last time these two teams met, although there have been changes on the front line. Of course, Podgorny was not in the equation the last time they faced off, but the general nucleus of this side remains intact. Real Monarchs, though, as we mentioned, a new-look side that's undergone plenty of in-season turnover, and that has to provide some pause when planning the game model from this. It is a squad with more wild cards than the average next pro side. And for a Vancouver side that has conceded the joint third most goals in the league with 26 through the opening 11 games, that also is a concern. It's the squad that finally found its shooting boots on Wednesday night. So far, they've seemed to take a cagier approach than most. 20 minutes gone, and we still await our first glaring chance of note. Suki. Zuluaga. Garnett. Amponsa nearly gives that away. Finally cleared, and a parting gift left on the center back that will draw a referee's ire for now. Trevor Wright, the captain, slow to return to his feet. Well, Vans, BMO is proud to be a founding partner of Vancouver Whitecaps FC since 2006. Join the Bank of Soccer at bmo.com. Just past the 20-minute mark, right around the midway point of this first half in this MLS Next Pro 6-pointer out west. Pair of sides below the playoff line, but Real Monarchs could go level with the top 8 on points with a triumph here tonight. A side that has managed 15 points from its opening 10 fixtures and is well and truly in the postseason hunt. Their opposite numbers, however, have been through their fair share of struggles so far. Just 2 victories in their first 11 games, and it has not been smooth sailing by any means. Has been an interesting trajectory for Whitecaps FC2. Back-to-back Western Conference quarterfinal apps in which they snuck in as the 7 seed in both campaigns. This year, major turnover in the offseason. Just 4 players with double-digit starts returning, let alone only one of the top 8 goal scorers remaining a regular feature in the side. And as a result, this Vancouver squad still finding its identity. It's been forced to get much younger personnel-wise as well, and you are seeing some of the growing pains associated with that. There is a unique balance of graduates of the American college ranks with young academy kids, and speaking to Rich Fagan, he mentioned that there is kind of that gap that needs to be addressed between the players that maybe have more college experience with the younger lads that are still trying to find their footing as players. And he's spoken about how a lot of the older presence in the side have helped address that. It's quick to mention Prince Amponsa, coach on the field, someone who of course played multiple years in the NYCFC 2 ranks, and a few others that have helped the 2 contingents mesh. Feels that this is a blend with real potential to do damage, but already 9 points off the top 8 of the Western Conference through their opening 11 games, and they have plenty of work to do. Here's Cowell. Cross comes in. Cleared away, and Sahil Deo loses out there. Villa. He clips it in. Amponsa again is there. Unrelenting pressure for prolonged spells from Real Monarchs, and if you didn't know better, you'd think they were chasing this at home. Villa, appetizing cross, just headed wide. It did draw Rogers' attention though. Juanjo Villa making a menace of himself as he floats forward here. Ball falls nicely for him, and this cross, very appetizing. It is just wide from Efald. Someone who's no stranger to making an impact in the final third. Was quite the threat during his time at West Virginia. Another clipped cross in, and that one spun out of play. Zuluaga tugged, and that may be a stern talking to from our official. Brasic. Suji. Garnett. Zuluaga. He's probably been the brightest performer to date from Vancouver in this one. Suji. You just wonder, as this wears on, which side will take more chances. Real Monarchs has ventured forward in a controlled, methodical fashion, although this might be a chance to go direct as Parker loses his footing. The referee says it was clean. Now he'll blow the whistle against Kobe Henry, to the chagrin of Van Parker, who's claiming he was mauled on the edge of the area. And at least on initial viewing, it appears he has a case. You see him get to this, the pressing, certainly tugged down by Amponsa here. I think this one probably should have been given as a free kick, and Parker may have an argument. Zuluaga. Ticking towards 30 minutes, and still no magical moments of difference. Bruletti. Sprayed forward by O'Gara. It's an inviting one, but Rogers read it the whole way. You see the wingbacks not shy about getting forward for Mark Lowry's men. Spoken about how he's had to convert a lot of players to this wingback role. Very few natural out-and-out wingbacks in the academy. Chance Cowell now, the former San Jose Earthquakes man, making his debut for the season with the Real Salt Lake organization tonight. He's definitely more of an out-and-out winger. You see him on the right flank as the more attack-minded dynamic wingback. Meanwhile, his opposite number one, Giovia, is a converted fullback who's more known for his defensive capabilities. Mark Lowry's mentioned that they're now asking him to provide more in the final third. So it is a constant story of development and versatility that Lowry is looking to instill in his group. Starting to see that come to fruition now. Here's Zuluaga. Garnett. Suji. He's nearly turned over. And instead, Alphen will claim. On the opposite end of things for Real Monarchs, under Mark Lowry in year 3, you've seen the ups and the downs. Took over a side that had really struggled dating back to the end of its USL Championship days, and in their first Next Pro season as well. It was far from a smooth campaign. Then in 2024, after a slow start, led them right into playoff contention, and last season was the groundbreaking moment when they cracked the postseason for the first time since their 2019 USL Championship title winning season. Finished in the top 4 after a strong start. There was a huge point of emphasis from Mark Lowry on getting results and banking points early on. And they did that and then ended the season on a pretty good stretch of fixtures. Did fall the Minnesota United FC2 in the quarters, but Western Conference quarters, that is. But it was still a successful campaign relative to past ones. Here's a cross in, it's appetizing, just wide. You see here this quick turn, dangerous cross, and Sahil Deo did not miss this by much. Inside the final 15 minutes here from Swangard Stadium in the first half of this clash between Whitecaps FC2 and Real Monarchs. Nothing to separate these two squads in the second of 3 meetings this year. So far, Sahil Deo with the best chance to date. Real Monarchs on the front foot, but you've seen moments for Whitecaps FC2 when they can threaten. Here's a chance brewing now for Monarchs. Chance Cowell across and headed home. The breakthrough just 10 minutes shy of halftime. Tremendous cross from Cowell and headed home by Izzy Amparo. 1-0 Monarchs. Well worked from Real Monarchs. The directness and the countering that Mark Lowry has discussed all week. You see it's Van Parker at the source. Chance Cowell on his debut just clips it in, and Amparo there to greet it. The 19-year-old on the score sheet to unlock Vancouver on the break. First professional goal from the RSL Academy standout, who began his pro pursuits in the Arizona youth setup for Real Monarchs. He has ventured into the second team ranks over the course of the last 2 years, has established himself as a more frequent starter this year, and has opened the scoring for the first time in his pro career here tonight. Monarchs 1, Vancouver 0. Well, there is the first domino to fall, and a Vancouver side that has struggled so mightily at the back, picked apart again. Those moments in which they lack concentration have reared their ugly head once again for Rich Fagan's men. Garnett Still about 9 minutes and change for Vancouver to find a retort. But as things stand, Real Monarchs with a deserved advantage. Just have to wonder though, moments ago the inflection point where Deo has a header sail wide. And then on the other end, 3 minutes later, Amparo is there to knock it home himself. Just a match of fine margins, this. Moisa. At the moment, it seems Mark Lowry and company are content to find another. His side has started quickly in past matches. Took them a touch longer to open the scoring here, but that they have done as they flick this on. Was loose briefly. Appeals for a penalty that are waved away immediately by a referee. And now the whistle sounds against Real Monarchs. You just see here the long header flicked on. There's a chase and Evault diving for it, and the claim is that there's a high boot that should have been given against Bruletti. Our referee was rather uninspired by that action and never really entertained it. Calderon navigates out of that pressure well and continues to break lines. Amparo, the lone goal scorer to date. Cowell, Parker, Amparo continuing his run. Quality ball forward. Moisa flicks it back to Amparo. Just over. Had the brace in the palm of his hands, and it may have been a slight touch that took it over. This is a real slick move from Real Monarchs. It is Amparo at the center of it, and you can tell his confidence sky high. Moisa, a clever back heel, and it is just a slight touch, perhaps even one off the deck that took it over. But it is a corner for Real Monarchs. It has been a quality 5-minute spell for Izzy Amparo. The opener, and nearly a brace moments later. Moisa, without swing, is cleared away at the near post. Only as far as Amparo. And out of danger for the time being. Maybe a chance to break the other direction. And it's one that ultimately is underwhelming. Final 5 minutes of the first half. 1-0 to Real Monarchs, courtesy of Izzy Amparo. Real Monarchs looking to make it 6 points from an available 6 against Whitecaps FC2. Just mere days after snapping a prolonged winless spell themselves. Vancouver with other ideas. Suji continuing to push on. Forced wide, and the final touch came off of the Whitecaps man. gives us a chance to tell you that TELUS is now offering pure fiber internet across Canada. Bruletti loses out to Evalds. Tried to go at it alone, and it does fall nicely for Juan Giovia. It has been all Monarchs since the opener, just continuing to twist the screws. Evalds, and he was offside. Rasic, someone whose highest moments are some of the brightest moments on this Whitecaps team. And now the cross comes towards Podgorny. Rasic at the center of it. Falls to the edge of the area now. Navigated away by Masalis, the former Duke University standout. Bruletti. Dale. Too far for Rasic. Final 90 seconds of the initial 45 minutes. And as things stand, Real Monarchs will go in a halftime 1-0 to the good, and deservedly so. There will be plenty of soul searching to be done from a Vancouver perspective if this result stands for now. Moisa lays this back off. It's a never-ending onslaught right now from the Monarchs. And that is not the best of challenges from Chance Cowell. Talented footballing family. Chance Cowell, of course, himself is a very dynamic player who worked his way through the Earthquakes Academy system and played a prominent role for Quakes 2 a season ago. Now under contract with the first team. Traded this year to Real Salt Lake. But his brother, of course, Cade Cowell, has played at the highest level, be it MLS or Liga MX. So has featured in senior national team ranks for the United States. And it's 3 minutes of added time that separate us from intermission. Henry will body off Garnett and happy to concede a throw. Zuluaga. Amponsa. Power himself forward. Cuts it across. Bruletti. Took a deflection and a corner on the way before all is said and done in this first half. Is there a moment of magic before the break for the hosts? Can they snatch an equalizer against the grain? Inswinger It is inviting. Garnett. He plays it back in. Finally away. Only as far as Yuma Suji. Massalas. That's a better spell from Vancouver. Rasic starting to get on the ball more. That not the best of passes though. Final minute of the added 3. As things stand, Real Monarchs will be the far happier of the two entities. A squad that in the live table would climb right towards 8th. Garnett. Suji. It's likely the final sojourn forward for Vancouver in this first half. Right. Amponsa. Much more methodical now from the Whitecaps. Zuluaga draws a convoy of white kits. Switch of the play now. And that cross is right at the goalkeeper. No trouble for Alfin whatsoever. And there is the halftime whistle. It was the first half that was cagey for large spells, but Izzy Amparo, the difference maker, a Real Monarchs squad that spent the bulk of the opening 45 on the front foot, rewarded on the score sheet. Our score at the half is Monarchs 1, Whitecaps 0. Coming up in our halftime show, we go back to the Northeast for another player pathway success story, plus highlights and stats after this brief timeout.
They say the world's game is played everywhere. This is how we play it here. Every weekend across North America. From Vancouver's mountain rain to the shores of Florida. From the City of Angels to the Heartland. The world's brightest stars light up our fields.
Let's go.
And our fans bring the world to life. In every language, in every city. One game, one roar. Sold out nights under lights. New soccer citadels rising from coast to coast. Every chant, every goal, another brick in a growing belief. Now, the world's biggest stage comes to our home. And when they arrive, they'll find the game's heartbeat has been here all along.
Welcome back. New England homegrown player Peyton Miller is another success story in the MLS Next Pro ranks. Let's revisit his story in this feature.
A lot of upside, a huge ceiling for this young kid.
You're going to like him a lot. His name is Peyton Miller. This is great stuff again. Oh my goodness.
A little bit of force away through here. The ball to the back post. It's awkward and it's thrust in towards goal.
From Unionville, Connecticut, to stepping on the field in Major League Soccer, Peyton Miller's journey is just getting started.
I'm from Connecticut. I grew up in Unionville. Growing up, I trained a lot with my dad. My dad is mostly the reason for where I am today. When I was like 7, I won a championship for my travel team with my dad as a coach, and I kind of just fell in love with it from there.
As Peyton began to excel as a player, he began receiving attention from multiple clubs.
I started at FSAFC, and then I wanted to excel my game a little bit more, so then I went to Oakwood. And then from there, we played teams like New England Revolution, Philadelphia Union, and then the Revs reached out, and it was my childhood dream to play for the Revs, so it was kind of an easy decision for me to make to come here.
When I arrived at the Revs as a new employee, the staff was telling me about a young man named Peyton Miller. And so right away I went and did as much research as I could, and when I watched him play one time, it was like, wow, this kid is special. Just the way he moved, the way he was working with the ball, the way he looked around naturally. I knew, as well as others knew, this kid had something inherently in him that we wanted to be around.
Dreams don't come without sacrifice. At just 13, Peyton had to leave his family and friends behind to pursue soccer full-time.
It was hard not being able to be with my parents and not being able to see friends, but it was the sacrifices that I had to make to live this dream. And before that, a year earlier, my parents had to drive 2 hours every single day from Connecticut to Foxborough just so that I can make training, and I'm very grateful for that.
Moving into the Academy's residency program gave Peyton access to top-level training and gave him a platform to continue growing.
And our world structure is everything, because players they're learning so much. There's academics, there's social development, there's physical development, there's goals, there's outside pressures already, there's social media. So what we need to do is we need to provide structure to allow these players to chase their dreams, but chase their dreams with guidelines and helpful. And then when they need a little something extra, we're there for them to help them navigate whatever's in front of them.
By 15, Peyton's hard work paid off. He signed a homegrown contract with the Revolution, and he made his professional debut with Revolution 2 in 2023.
It was against Atlanta. I had a couple good chances, good balls for an assist or a goal maybe. That should have happened, but I was very nervous in the beginning, but as soon as the whistle blew, it kind of just all went away, and all I could feel was just like the adrenaline rush.
Playing against older and stronger players forced Peyton to adapt quickly.
I didn't want the guys like babying me because I was young. I wanted them to tell me how it really was, and they really understood that, and like they weren't afraid to yell at me if I did something wrong, and that's what helped me get to the next level.
His performances that season with Revs 2 opened the door to an opportunity with the first team.
At the end of our season with the second team, they gave me the chance to come train with the first team, and then a little bit previous of that, that's when I signed my homegrown contract. So that was a very big step. You know, the speed of play was crazy when I got to the first team, but I got used to it for a little bit, and then that's when the off season hit, and then that's when I really started to like train, and I came back for the preseason, and I was ready for it.
Soon after came the moment he'd been dreaming of since childhood, his MLS debut at just 16 years old, making him the second youngest player in club history to make his debut.
Another interesting debut here. Obviously all the talk about Kevin Sullivan, but Peyton Miller will make his MLS debut, the 16-year-old from Unionville, Connecticut.
My parents made the trip to Philly so they could see me play, and I kind of knew before the game that like this might be the game that I come in, because they told me that week that I'll probably get in that game. But I was nervous stepping to the line, but Caleb just said to me, like, have fun. This is what you love to do. Just go out there and be a kid. And that's what I did. As soon as I stepped on the field, everything just went away, and it was just me on the ball.
For Peyton and his family, it was a moment of pride.
They were all excited. You know, I got a lot of texts from everyone, Instagram stories, all that type of stuff. Everyone just saying that they're proud of me. It was kind of just like a full circle moment, being able to represent the badge and represent my family, my friends, and knowing that all the hard work that I put in, the sacrifices that my parents made, paid off.
4 days later, Peyton would make his full MLS debut against FC Dallas.
Okay. Miller. Goal. Bobby Wood! Courtesy of the 16-year-old Miller. The Revs to the lead.
Peyton hasn't just made waves at the club level. He's also become a mainstay in the U.S. Youth National Team setup, earning call-ups from the U15s through the U23s. He featured in all 4 matches at the 2023 FIFA Under-17 World Cup, and later represented the United States at the 2025 FIFA Under-20 World Cup as one of the youngest players on the roster.
As a staff, when Peyton debuted with the 17s and went on, we all have these Slack channels, and his pictures coming up from different players snapping the TV going, there's our friend, there's our teammate, there's our guy, and then other coaches. It was really endearing just to be together. It was because we were actually on the road for a game as an academy staff, and that was amazing. And then to see the whole transformation of where he goes and what he's done, we couldn't be more proud.
Peyton hopes his story can be a blueprint for success for the next generation of Revolution players.
It means a lot to me, you know, like to have younger kids look up to me, and some kids will come up to me and ask me like, what'd you do to get where you're at? And I kind of just tell them like it takes sacrifice and effort, and you just have to be willing to put in the work. But there's a lot of kids that come up to me, and I always tell them like, don't be afraid to come up and talk to me. Like, I was once where you're at, like don't be afraid.
Welcome back. MLS recently agreed to a deal that will see global investment firm KKR make a strategic investment and partner with MLS Next Pro. KKR will inject capital into MLS Next Pro with an eye on growing the league and its footprint around the continent. In conjunction with MLS, the partnership will oversee commercial strategy as it looks to move the 27 MLS-affiliated Next Pro teams into new markets with an eye on building brands within those communities and seeking stadium development deals. We will hear more about this in the coming seasons. A look around MLS Next Pro beyond the announcement of KKR investments gives us a chance to look at the score in this one and the upcoming scores in the fixtures this weekend at MLS Next Pro. 1-0 advantage for Monarchs against Whitecaps FC2. These are the latest scores around the league at the moment. On Saturday, a bevy of fun fixtures. North Texas falling on spot kicks to San Jose Earthquakes. Meanwhile, Chicago Fire dominating Huntsville City by a 4-0 scoreline. On Friday as well, Austin FC2 continuing its red-hot run. Meanwhile, New England toppling the Eastern Conference leaders on penalties. In terms of our upcoming schedule now, in MLS Next Pro, there are a number of key fixtures coming up. But before that, let's get a look at the standout moments of our first half. There were many, many key moments for both teams, key inflection points. In this one, it was Real Monarchs that got off to a strong start for the early stages, and from there, they continue to push on. This long throw that comes in, a flick-on header that falls for Moisa, and it just deflects a touch wide. The slight touch from Sam Rogers also takes it wide of the net. Meanwhile, the other way, Vancouver did show moments. Zuluaga here making a nice move inside. The underlapping run from Garnett, and he plays this across the face, and Deo and company just can't tilt it home. But that, their most promising move forward. And then after that, Real Monarchs would eventually push on and break through. You see this ball come in, this cross, and it's flicked on just wide. That was the warning shot for Real Monarchs before the eventual goal came. You see on the other end, there were still key moments. It's a header wide from Dale. That the biggest chance of the match to date, around the 30-minute threshold. And then you see just Real Monarchs continue to push forward with force. This was the breakthrough. The play was wide to Chance Cowell. The cross came into the back post and headed home. It was a tremendous move. Izzy Amparo the beneficiary, and on 35 minutes, Real Monarchs snatched the lead. Well, they now control things 1-0 at halftime, but 45 minutes left to see this one out. We'll take a quick breather here from British Columbia when we return the second half in this key Western Conference six-pointer.
Yeah, boys hear cinnamon, flow tastes sweet like cinnamon. Open up doors, I'm a gentleman. View top floor, I'm still staying ahead of them. Running on fumes and adrenaline. Do what I do best, can rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions, trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next. Just wanna know what's next. Man, I say it so loud. Don't worry about what next. Just know we got now. Oh yes, man, I say it oh so proud. Don't worry about what next. Just know we got now.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
We welcome you back to Burnaby in British Columbia, where we are just about set for second half kickoff in this Western Conference tussle between Vancouver Whitecaps FC2 and Real Monarchs. A narrow 1-0 advantage, courtesy of Izzy Amparo for the visitors. Real Monarchs looking for a second consecutive victory after previously going winless in the prior 5 fixtures. Sam Goldfarb bringing you the remainder of the action from Swangard Stadium. We thank you for joining us. A strong first half from Real Monarchs. They were on the front foot for the bulk of it, but there were moments from Vancouver Whitecaps FC2 before Amparo's eventual opener. Sahil Deo heading wide about 3 minutes before the breakthrough. The question is, can Vancouver find a way back into this? But there is a chance brewing here for Real Monarchs, and they take it. They've doubled the lead a minute after the restart, and Van Parker with a third goal in 2 matches. Blink and you'll miss it. Their first spell of buildup after the restart, and Van Parker once again directed on the score sheet. You see E-Fault here, just play this through, it's so well weighted. Amponsa switches off and Van Parker makes everyone pay. Clinical finish, and after bagging a brace on Wednesday night, he adds another tally here on Sunday. It's just gone from bad to worse for Vancouver, a side that has slumped so much defensively this season, conceding multiple goals for what is now the 6th consecutive fixture. And they have plenty of work to do. This effort's audacious, and it floats in. There is life now for Vancouver, and a swift reply for the hosts. First half started in very cagey fashion. Second half has opened guns blazing both sides. Parker on 46 minutes, and then the other way here, you just see it gets carried forward. It's Rasic who has the touch. It may have even come off of a defender, and Alfin can't keep it out. Just like that, it's 2-1. As of now, it appears Rasic got the final touch. But a minute after conceding what could have been the dagger, Vancouver finds a response.
Whitecaps FC 2 goal and own goal scored by Real Monarchs number 77.
It is given as an own goal. So Carson Rasic doesn't quite open his professional account on that occasion. Either way, a minute after conceding the second, Vancouver fires back. It's an own goal for Ruben Masalis, who's been an excellent defender all season long. At that time, as he tries to clear it, it takes a really unfortunate hop and flies into the back of his own net. After it was a pretty audacious attempt from Carson Rasic from outside the area. Looked like he was even trying to potentially lob the goalkeeper. And well, that was a freak touch off of Masalis for Vancouver's first. And Real Monarchs now win a corner and look to immediately neutralize that. Taken short. Amparo. Curling ball in. It's headed across and in! Goals aplenty in this one. Just 2 minutes after conceding, Real Monarchs have scored again, and it's 3-1. Amparo at the source. It's a curling cross. Perfect height for what appears to be Kobe Henry, who just powers it past Rogers. And just like that, 3-1 to Real Monarchs. How about this start to the second half? Parker on 46 minutes, an own goal for Real Monarchs on 47 minutes, and Kobe Henry firing right back on 49 minutes. 3 goals in the opening 4 minutes of the second half, and Real Monarchs take a 3-1 lead.
Real Monarchs goal scored in the 49th minute.
That is quite deflating if you're a Whitecaps FC2 supporter. You immediately fire back. It looks like you have renewed life. And then conceding off of a set piece for the second consecutive week. And if that second goal wasn't the dagger, the third very well may be. It is a Whitecaps side that Rich Fagan has emphasized the importance of scoring goals. 15 goals, that ranks tied for 17th in the league. They did get off to a fast start, but during this rocky spell, 3 goals in the last 4, and their red-hot start has cooled. And keep in mind, no Liam McKenzie, their leading goal scorer, in the squad tonight, so they don't quite have the level of reinforcement they usually do. That ball for Parker is beyond his reach. There was a yellow card given to Izzy Amparo moments ago as well. So just to add to the complex opening 5 minutes of this second half, for those that have just flipped the match on, it's been blink and you'll miss it. 3 goals in the opening 4 minutes of the second half. It took 35 minutes for our opener in what was a slightly tight start for both sides. Izzy Amparo broke through. Then a minute after the restart, Van Parker scoring what looked to be the dagger. An own goal for Ruben Masalis literally a minute later, and then 2 minutes after that, Kobe Henry off a corner. And that is where we find ourselves. Still plenty to play for Vancouver. And you'd fancy this now to open up considerably with Whitecaps needing to chase it. Moisa. It's a late challenge, and the referee goes back to that. Villa is looking long for Parker, who is the target in those sort of scenarios. Garnett. Zuluaga giving chase and a few footsteps behind it. Amparo navigates through trouble well and continues to ride challenges. Starting to see Izzy Amparo's coming out party. A goal and an assist to his name. Someone who had recorded just one professional assist prior to tonight. He's tripled his tally of professional goal contributions in an hour of this one. Mind you, actually 50 minutes of this one. Rasic. Played wide to Zuluaga. He's faced up 1v1. Cross deflected. And just down a play for a goal kick. Rasic. That's wide for Villa. Not the best of clearances for Malford. Someone who's regarded for his ability to play with his feet. It's one of the few feet he's put wrong so far. Amparo. There's the most recent presence in defense in Calderon, and now the whistle sounds against Vancouver. At this point, you'd figure Real Monarchs will try and take the sting out of things. Patient possession. If the opportunity for a fourth presents itself, they'll certainly take it. As you see the yellow card issued here, it's a late challenge from what appears to be Prince Amponsa, and he has entered the book now for Whitecaps FC 2. Still 35 minutes for Vancouver to find a route back into this. It will take something Herculean, though, with the way this is unfolding. Every time it feels like there are signs of life for Vancouver going forward, Real Monarchs make them pay the other direction, be it set pieces, counters, or basic build-up. A well-rounded CV of goals today. There are numbers now brewing here for Whitecaps, though. Dale. He is onside. Early cross, but cut out by Masalas. Clever touch from Dale. Peace roaming forward. Rasic. Tracked step for step by Villa. And only as far as right, though. Zuluaga. Most dangerous Whitecap today. It's not his finest cross. Peace. 16-year-old making his first professional start. That's well done. Podgorny's onside, has runners in support. Tries it himself, just wide. That was a chance for another lifeline, and Podgorny just drags it wide of that far post. It's clever footwork. Perhaps he should have played Garnett earlier, but he gets himself in a good position and nearly picked out the bottom right. This now gives us a chance to tell you that Chevrolet is proud to be a partner of Vancouver Whitecaps FC since 2023. Together in the stadium, together on the pitch, together let's drive Chevrolet.ca. Just shy of the hour mark, 3-1 to Real Monarchs. Vancouver starting to push on themselves. Deo darts inside, goes at it, headed Alfin. This, though, is the most assertive spell of the night to date from Vancouver. And with the way this match has unfolded in the second half, you would figure if Vancouver can grab a goal, the floodgates may start to open both ways, because Real Monarchs might tighten up. And in addition to that, you may see Vancouver leave themselves overly exposed in pursuit of an equalizer. Efalt. Floated wide. It's tracked down by Garnett. And now he gets it from Zuluaga. Heavy touch takes him into traffic, though. Moisa. Parker forced wide. Cross not dealt with convincingly. Moisa nearly tracked it down for Real Monarchs. And we tick towards the hour mark. And at the moment, Real Monarchs a commanding 3-1 advantage. But Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2 starting to punch back. Found a goal at 2-0 down, conceded shortly thereafter. But both Sahil Deo and Kevin Podgorny have gotten into dangerous positions. And it has at least opened the door, or perhaps left it ajar, for the hosts to get something from this. That's well done by Rasic. Decent reaction there from Calderon. Efalt grappling for it and losing that battle in the eyes of the official. Ponsa. That's well done. Did everything but find a teammate. Moisa. Will Real Monarchs slam the door shut, or can Vancouver put themselves back in the conversation? Moisa has been all over the park today and switches the play wonderfully. Juan Giovia. Masalis joining the attack. A bevy of options now. Masalis' first time cross, knuckles in. Never favored the forward on that occasion. And there is a player down for Vancouver. Appears to be Yuma Suji, who missed the opening stages of the campaign. Suji looks long. Corney just ran out of real estate. If you are Rich Fagan, you'll be pleased with the response from Vancouver. It shows initiative. The question is, though, after digging themselves in a hole, can they climb out, or will they just make the hole worse? We're seeing real signs of promise and potential, and maybe Rich Fagan would be wondering where that was in the first half, but when you concede, sometimes mentally there's less to lose and you can play a little more freely. Hearing word that Real Monarchs is readying a pair of changes. Kobe Henry, as well as Chance Cowell, are getting set to exit. Before that, though, something brewing for the visitors. Cut back here. It's a real chance for Real Monarchs to make it 4. Villa carving out an angle. Falls to the edge of the area for Masalis, but always rising. Well, they continue to push on. And Masalis had a free runway in the end. You see Moisa at the center of it all. He cuts it back, and then it's just pure chaos in the area. Villa does well to keep it alive. His effort blocked, and then it just falls so nicely for Masalis, who can run at it. Doesn't keep it down, though, despite the fact that he had Roger scrambling. And that is the danger the visitors can offer on the other end of things. So double swap, Chance Cowell and Kobe Henry depart. It is Omar Marquez who returns from injury. A welcome sight for the midfielder to work his way back in the fold. And Dylan Kropp, the former first-round pick out of the University of North Carolina in his rookie season, replaces Chance Cowell. That clearly a defense-minded change as they look to lock up shop. So Marquez in for Cowell, Kropp in for Henry. Those are the two alterations Mark Lowry goes with. Meanwhile, it seems Vancouver may be readying a double change of their own. A pair of players getting loose on the touchline. So the chess match has reached a new stage. A stage where the pieces are changed on the board. So double swap now for Vancouver. It is the end of the road for Kevin Podgorny, who exits to conclude his first start with the club. And 2 changes the other direction. So double swap for Vancouver. We'll get those subs to you when we have them. This is a long throw for Monarchs now. Moisa nearly sprinted through a thicket of 3 dark blue kids. Instead, a chance to break. And it's one that's immediately neutralized by Gio Calderon. So it is a double swap for Whitecaps FC2. Umasuji exits the match. He is replaced by Tyler Brown. And an attack-minded swap. Meanwhile, in addition to that, Kevin Podgorny is off. Eden Bajawi is into the match, making his professional debut. And here is the first touch for Bajawi. Plays it forward. Dale just left it dangling. Falls for Rasic. Plays it through for Bajawi. And right into the path of Trace Alfin. But that is a strong first involvement for the youngster. In his Bajawi's pro debut, the 17-year-old out of the Whitecaps Academy has excelled in the Canadian youth national team ranks in the past. Featured for the U16s in training camp. And now he gets his first shot on the pro stage. Now Tyler Brown, a slightly more established feature for Whitecaps FC2. 17-year-old out of the academy who's making his 9th appearance. 8 of those have come as a super sub now. Peace. Deo. Swirling inside. Just over 20 minutes for Vancouver to chase their way back into this. Well, fans, BMO is proud to be a founding partner of Vancouver Whitecaps FC since 2006. Join the Bank of Soccer at bmo.com. 3-1 in favor of Royal Monarchs. A match that was incredibly tight in the first half for spells. Enjoyed a very lively start to the second with 3 goals in the opening 4 minutes. Royal Monarchs bagging 2 of those to power themselves in front by a pair of tallies after entering halftime 1-0 to the good. Since then, Vancouver playing catch-up but showing life, and they push on again here. Zuluaga on the far side, a low cross. It falls kindly, and the offside flag shoots up before it can be tapped in by Brown. So a goal snatched off Vancouver's docket there. You see Zuluaga here. It was a slight touch there from the substitute Bajawi, who was in an offside position, and that is what drew our linesman's ire. And Brown robbed of perhaps the easiest goal he'll ever score. Now Moisa the other way, and it's become a track meet. Dale. A 4th would all but seal it from Royal Monarchs. A 2nd for Vancouver would add considerable intrigue to this. And Bajawi has already put himself in a number of very eyebrow-raising positions. He's made an impact on this match in his pro debut. Bruletti. Amponsa. Van Parker was not having any of that, especially after Amponsa ran through 3 Royal Monarchs defenders that were pressing. Bruletti. Scintillating switch. This is Garnett. Amponsa. And now the whistle sounds for the earlier challenge. Another yellow card out. And it is issued to the substitute Marquez. So welcome back to the beautiful game for Mr. Marquez on that occasion. He's known for logging these. Just steps in a touch early. Didn't get much of the ball and pays the price for it. So it is Omar Marquez, the 18-year-old out of the Real Monarchs Academy, who enters the book on appearance number 7 of the season. Back after missing the last 4 matches with injury. Maybe not the first involvement he was hoping for. Here's the ensuing set piece. Alfin punches it. Amponsa now. Blocked away. Default makes himself a real problem there. And it is a corner for Vancouver as time gradually wanes here in Burnaby. Carson Rasic, the do-it-all midfielder with the honors. Too much hand fighting for our referee's liking. This is a long wait for this corner. And finally, we have the green light for take 2. Rasic within swing. Cleared away at the near post. Only as far as the edge of the area. Still loose and out of play for another corner. It could be a never-ending onslaught from here on out. This taken short. Garnett. Nearly gives it away. And now plays it forward. Headed across by right. Calderon does the job. Garnett again. Right is effectively being deployed as a center forward in this instance. Just chasing after every ball with his head, and he has a knack for causing danger on set pieces. Here's Amponsa. Garnett again. Well inside the final quarter of an hour from Burnaby. Peace. His cross. Headed across the face. And a rather tame headed effort from Rasic. And every time Trace Alfin collects the ball from here on out, he will be in no rush to distribute. And just manage the game to the best of his ability. Brown. He tries from distance. Right at Alfin. At the moment, Real Monarchs would be set for a second consecutive victory, heading into a real favorable fixture on the 29th of May against Sporting Kansas City 2. Meanwhile, for Vancouver, it would be a 6th consecutive match without a win before a trip to a top half Ventura County side that was in excellent form prior to the El Trafichico defeat about 8 nights ago. That is a side that will be hungry to get back in the win column and potentially licking their chops as well. Still the small matter of Real Monarchs seeing this one out, though. A squad that has enjoyed a goal-scoring renaissance the last couple of weekends, as Trace Alfin has now been booked for time wasting. More changes now. It is the end of the road for Yeder Zuluaga. He and Sahil Deo wreaked real havoc on the flanks, but he cannot find himself on in the score sheet. And he is replaced by another debutant, Manav Badwal, the younger brother of Jeevan Badwal, the first teamer who played in MLS Next Pro as recently as 2 years ago. Congratulations to the Badwal family for seeing another standout player feature for Whitecaps FC2. It is Manav Badwal's professional debut, 15 years of age. He's featured for the Canadians at the U15 and U16 levels. He is in a like-for-like swap for Zuluaga on the left flank. What a career Jeevan Badwal's made for himself in Vancouver, from playing big minutes in MLS Next Pro to featuring prominently for the first team, including in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. A clever turn from Bajawi. Amponsa, Garnett, Brown, venturing into the box, has it knocked away. It's a clattering challenge, and the referee will come back to that as we play on. Dale. Badwal's first touch. Peace. Deo again. Tracked down by Wright. Badwal pressing heavily. These last 10 minutes could be a long spell for Monarchs supporters. The momentum is well and truly shifted in the last 20 or so. Real Monarchs has been unable to kill it off on the break, and they've been forced to throw numbers behind the ball as a result, as the offside flag shoots up once again. Real Monarchs is readying one further change as well. And hearing word Owen Anderson is going to return from a prolonged injury absence. Luka Moisa will be the man to vacate. Strong performance from Moisa, who seemingly had his fingerprints on all 3 goals to some degree. Owen Anderson, who has been a regular in this second team squad when healthy, is set to replace him, homegrown for homegrown. This is given away cheaply. Marquez. Bruletti. Garnett. Dancing through traffic. Now upended. The referee says it was won cleanly, though. Moisa, one of his final involvements. It's read brilliantly by Wright. One-time pass to Badwal, who lays it off to Rasic. Corner on the way. Common theme in this second half for Whitecaps FC2. have to figure Rich Fagan will be pleased with what he's seen between the boxes in the second half once again. Just haven't had the key touches in the decisive moments, with the exception of that own goal, which still might have lacked the decision required. Outswinger. Cleared only as far as Garnett. 7 minutes and stoppage time remain on the clock. Well, fans, TELUS is now offering pure fiber internet across Canada. And it is now time for another substitution. It is Owen Anderson who returns to the action. A welcome back to the first teamer who will replace Luka Moisa. Anderson, the 18-year-old, appearance number 6 of the year, his first in the last month or so after missing 4 straight matches entering tonight. And he is part of the returning contingent that Real Monarchs had to cope without centrally, and that led to Mark Lowry's aforementioned switch stylistically to a 5-back, playing through the flanks and playing direct. Now, when you couple that with the reintroduction of the likes of Marquez and Anderson and infused quality in midfield, it should make for a very well-rounded squad that potentially builds on these back-to-back victories. Of course, if they can see this across the line. Still time remaining on the clock, but they are in a very favorable spot as there's now a player down with cramp. Villa. Calderon. You do have to feel for Sam Rogers. It's another fixture where there's very little he could do about really any of the 3 finishes. And Rich Fagan's mentioned the importance of keeping his confidence up, says his communication is great. He's good with his feet as well, and he's a good all-around prospect. He's just been thrown into a really unfortunate scenario where over the course of his last 3 starts, they have frankly struggled at the back. Now, a grand total of 11 goals allowed, dating back to that 6-1 defeat against Earthquakes 2 on May 9th. Put him in some unfavorable spots, and now it's just a question of how he will handle that going forward when he gets another opportunity. Real Monarchs in no rush to take this, although Alfin has to be wise. He is on a yellow card. Marquez chasing, and he does get there. Across. Cut out before it can reach Parker cleanly. Rasic. Garnett. Too far for Dale. Yellow card moments ago was showed to Dylan Kropp. So another Monarchs man in the book. Time wasting becoming a theme of these final 25 minutes for the visitors. It's all about game management at this stage.
Yellow card, Real Monarchs number 64, Dylan Kropp.
Right. If Vancouver is to add some jeopardy, they have to do so shortly. Otherwise, it may be a cruise to the finish line for the visitors. Amponsa apiece. Dale. That ball was tugged. And Ponsa sprays it forward. Dale. Final 2 minutes plus stoppage time remain. Villa loses out there. And at the second time of asking, Calderon bashes it clear. Final minute of the initial 90. Barring a major collapse, it is Monarchs' night once again. A team that had suffered 4 defeats in a 5-match span entering the week. Had gone 5 winless in that stretch. They are in a position to turn around their campaign and fast. Because if this result were to hold, they would potentially climb towards the top 8. In fact, they would end the night level on points with Minnesota United FC2 and North Texas. It would only be behind both on the wins tiebreaker. Meanwhile, for Real Monarchs, they would find themselves still 9 points adrift in the opening 12 matches. It's a far from favorable picture, but a long period of stoppage time before we reach that point. 8 minutes separate Real Monarchs from their second consecutive victory, and yet another defeat for Whitecaps FC2. Real Monarchs preparing an additional change. Hearing word that Luis Rivera is getting set to check in the dying embers. And he would replace Langio Villa. That would be a pretty identical like-for-like swap at the left wing back spot. Anderson ran into traffic there. Here's Deo on the turn. Stood up at the source. As of now, they're keeping the substitution of Rivera for Villa on hold. We'll see if it actually gets made before full time. Right. Does reach Garnett. A first-time cross in over the head of Sahil Dale. And ultimately comes to nothing. It's been the unfortunate story so often when Vancouver has ventured forward. Some almost moments in the first half, a few half chances in the second. They've been unable to knife through this Real Monarchs back line, which is tighten the ship defensively these last couple weeks. Only a goal conceded against Quakes 2, a clean sheet on Wednesday. And just 1 goal, courtesy of a fluky own goal to a degree, although it was created by the pressure Vancouver put on the back line. Other than 1 small mistake, it's been a rather clean day defensively for the visitors. Bruletti. Most space he's had all day. And he gives it away, only briefly though. Rasic. Amponsa. Time rapidly winding down on Vancouver. Amponsa's cross evades Dale. This is Peace. This ball in deflected. Here's Anderson for Real Monarchs. And now hearing word that Rivera will enter the action here.
Real Monarchs fourth.
So there is the change at wingback. Juan Giovia exits. Luis Rivera enters. That presumably the final swap before the night is done. Luis Rivera, the 18-year-old out of the Real Salt Lake Academy, became the second youngest player to sign a homegrown player contract in 2023, but still has yet to feature for the first team. This season getting heightened opportunity with the second teamers and making the most of it so far. Gets a chance to clean this up midway through the added 8 minutes. That's given away. Parker sticks with it and floats forward. A deflected cross that does stay in play. Rivera across the face. Cleared away before it can reach an on-rushing attacker. Vancouver looking to break. But Jowie chasing and losing the foot race. Only narrowly, though. Peace. Deo. Darts to the byline. An arcing ball that switches the play. Amponsa. 2.5 minutes remain of the added 8. And Vancouver still has yet to make a dent in this strong back line of Real Monarchs. Monarchs so nearly there. Endured a chaotic start to the second half. Van Parker thought he had wrapped it up before the own goal a minute later, but the resilience they showed to win a corner a minute later and produce the dagger through Kobe Henry's back post header was remarkable. And barring a very dramatic collapse, they are in line to claim another 3 points. A side that found itself searching for a new identity mere weeks ago is on the way to placing themselves back in the playoff hunt. Vancouver, meanwhile, will still soul search. It's been a month-long process that threatens to wear on that much longer. It is a young side. It is one that you fancy will gel over the course of the upcoming months. They can't afford to lose too much ground in a competitive West before then. Garnett. Underlap from Amponsa. Away by Anderson. And this is likely Whitecaps' final sojourn forward. Deo. curling cross right at Alfin, and that may just do it. There is the full-time whistle. Real Monarchs jumping in front 10 minutes before intermission and surviving a chaotic opening 5 minutes of the second half to claim a controlled 3-1 victory. Back-to-back triumphs to flip the script in the span of a week. Goals by Amparo, Van Parker, and the dagger from Kobe Henry. Sandwich an own goal from Ruben Masalas, which made it a match briefly. It's now time for today's man of the match, which is presented by Adidas, and it is the opening goal scorer, Izzy Amparo. A goal and an assist to his name to triple his professional goal contributions tally in one 90-minute span. It was his opening goal that provided the difference-making moment. It gave Real Monarchs the lead that they would never forfeit, and then he also supplied the second for Van Parker. A strong 90 minutes for number 61 in white. Well, for our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, I'm Sam Goldfarb. Once again, our final score, Real Monarchs 3, Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2-1. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com. And OneFootball, have a great rest of your night, everyone. From British Columbia, signing off.